صلى الله وسلم على سيدنا محمد وآله الطيبين الطاهرين اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. This would be our second session. It is targeted towards the youth, but everyone is welcome to participate and ask questions. But I would give the youth the priority in their questions, for their questions and their comments. So if you have comments or questions, please feel free to raise your hand, and inshallah we'll hear from you as well. So the hadith that was suggested for this week, I think it's already there. Yes, perfect. So from Imam Hussein alayhi salam, he says, I'll read the Arabic inshallah for the benefits of those who understand and for the blessings. He says, لا تقولن في أخيك إذا توارى عنك إلا ما تحب أن يقول فيك إذا تواريت عنه. So he says, do not say about, now I'm going to translate, maybe it may be different here because I'd like a little more of a literal translation, and then we'll do interpretation and understanding. He says, do not say about your brother when he goes away from you that you cannot see him. Tawara is when you cannot see him anymore. And this is an expression, obviously. إِذَا تَوَارَى عَنْكَ, except, so do not say about your brother who you can no longer see him, do not say anything about him except what you would love to hear him say about you when you go away from him. So this is the more of a literal translation. But before we continue, I want to ask some of the youth to tell me, before we start commenting on it, what do you understand? Yes, Muhammad. Yeah.
If you don't want to hear him say those things,
very good, very good. Yeah, so basically, do not say about your brother when he's away what you don't want him to say about you when you are away. Very much the same. Yes, Muhammad.
You have a friend that's also your brother's friend, and you say something bad about your brother, and you shouldn't have said that because like you don't want to say that from you.
Say it again.
Let's say you have a friend.
Yeah.
And you say something bad about your brother to that friend.
Mm-hmm.
You shouldn't do that because you don't want your brother to say to that friend something like that.
Exactly. So you have a friend, you don't want, you say something bad about them, then you could have them say the same thing or similar things about you when you're not there. Yeah. Anyone else? Any other suggestions? Yeah.
I think it's interesting how instead of saying don't say something mean or don't say something bad, the way that the Imam says it is don't say something that you wouldn't want someone to say about you. So it's rid of the gray, right?
Yes, very good, very good. So the way it's put is amazing, that it doesn't say don't say something bad about them. It actually puts a bigger umbrella. Don't say something about them that you don't want them to say about you, because oftentimes we say I'm not saying something bad. You know, people when they start gossiping or backbiting, you say, okay, why are you talking about them? No, I'm not saying anything bad. And do you want that to be said about? The question is very simple. Do you want that to be said about you? If not, don't say it. So it is definitely that's a beautiful way of putting it. Now, when it comes to the issue of backbiting or ghiba, the Quran has a very, very graphic analogy or a picture that is put about this very act. So in Surah Al-Hujurat, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives us some guidelines in terms of how to be with one another. It's a beautiful surah for the society overall. In there, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, don't make up names, nicknames for each other, don't make fun of each other, a few things. Eventually it says, and don't backbite each other. وَلَا يَغْتَبْ بَعْضُكُمْ بَعْضًا. The only one that has that graphic explanation afterwards is about ghiba. So other articles do not have any follow-up explanation. But when it comes to ghiba, it says, does any one of you like to eat the flesh of their dead brother, or somebody who, like, somebody who passed away? They're your brother, they're your sisters. Would you like to dig into their flesh and start eating it? The Quran already says فَكَرِهْتُمُوهُ. Amazing. Do you like it? And then the ayah explains further to say, no, you detest it. Obviously you don't like it, but that's the reality of it. And we have in the Hadeeth, Imam Hassan alayhi salam, it's a beautiful Hadeeth from the Imam. He says, ghiba is the action of the dogs in hellfire. So the question is, do dogs go to hellfire? I'm talking about physical, real dogs in this world. So then what are these dogs in hellfire? It's people who in Farsi we call them dogs, sagsafat. Like they have their dog characteristics. They're like dogs. In what? I remember my eldest, when he was very young, I told him, why are you scared of dogs? He got attacked once, so I said, why are you scared? He said, look at his teeth. You look at the teeth and the jaw and the way it looks, that is the character of one who backbites and speak behind other people's back. That is what Quran describes it, and that is what Imam Hassan alayhi salam puts it as, that this is the character of the dogs in hellfire. So we don't want to be those, and therefore we should not be speaking ill behind people's back. Another nice reflection about this hadith and how it's putting it is the concept that often people call it karma. In this world we speak of it, often in today's culture people refer to it as karma. And unfortunately when they say karma, they think it's not, it is detached from, God. It's just the world, how it works. No, this is how God made this world, that actions have reactions, and everything has its consequences, good or bad. So when it comes to something like backbiting and speaking ill about people, it'll come back to us. So the Imam puts those two together to describe to us the reality that you speak ill behind their back, expect that they or others would speak ill behind your back, because we as humans affect each other so much, to the point that a disease started in China in the end of 2019. Was it December? By January it was all over the world. It had come to the United States and everywhere else, and I think by February everyone in the world started closing down. So this is how much we affect each other. Now, just like viruses affect us, also, believe it or not, things like ethical and moral diseases affect us in that manner. They spread in that manner. If we speak ill of people in our community, people will speak ill of us in our community. and elsewhere, it spreads. And if we try to stop people from backbiting in our gatherings, it is less likely that people will be gossiping and backbiting about us in our absence. If we are the type of, if I am the type of person who speaks ill behind people's back, it is more likely that people will do it about me. And this is not karma, this is God's tradition. This is a godly tradition that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has set this world in this way, that every action has a reaction. Every deed has its consequences. You do a good deed, you face good consequences, and you do a bad deed and you face bad consequences. Wal-'iyadhu billah. We seek refuge to God from that. Any questions? I think we are time for adhan. So inshallah we'll meet again next week. Walhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wa sallallahu wa sallam ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa alihi tayyibin at-tahirin.